We are going to turn to a story we're calling 10% Happier.
The key to happiness can be found on a course, apparently.
Happiness. We all crave it.
You know, happiness is for me a very conformist category.
Metalheads are actually some of the happiest and most peaceful people around.
It's the International Day of Happiness tomorrow.
Happiness, happiness, happiness! We are constantly bombarded with ideas, theories, studies, and even gurus telling us the secret to being happy.
The secret to happiness is being good looking.
It's gotten so big, the last time anyone tried to measure what we now call the happiness industry, it was worth $48 billion. That's bigger than the economies of places like Nigeria, Romania, and Vietnam. Yes, I'm sorry to say, we spend more time on trying to be happy than most countries spend on, well, keeping people alive. We buy apps, gadgets, clothes, we go on happiness retreats, social media detoxes, and we even go to happiness conferences. Yes, that is a thing. A conference on happiness this year, it took place in Thailand. We have chief happiness officers, we have governments obsessing over measuring it, and of course, a massive amount of our healthcare budgets goes into trying to make us, well, not sad. But a question that comes up time and time again for me is, how is this all going? With all the billions that are being spent in the happiness industry, are we happier than we were? Well, in a word, no. Data on the number of people reporting emotional distress, prescriptions for antidepressants, and absent from work on account of mental illness have all gone up since the 1990s. So if the happiness industry isn't doing so well, is there an alternative to the routes and avenues of happiness we've all been travelling down? I think there is. You see, researchers have been looking at this question of what makes us happy and content for a really long time. In fact, some of the world's longest ever studies have been dedicated just to that. One of the most famous is the Harvard Grant Study, launched at the American college of the same name. It followed 268 students from the classes of 1938 to 1940 for 75 years, and they just had one focus. What were the main determinants of whether somebody had a happy and meaningful life? Fun fact, JFK was part of that initial study group. Anyway, the study interviewed these men all through their lives, trying to find out what made people happy and what kept them alive. This study was rigorous. Every 2 years, researchers went to the homes of these men. They looked at their medical records, they drew blood, they scanned their brains, they spoke to their partners and their children. They never stopped bothering these men about what they did and how they felt. And do you know what they found? The single biggest factor for what made a happy and contented life? It was their relationships. Yep, their relationships. Here's Robert Waldinger, the current head of the study. It's still going on, by the way, talking all about it.
Well, the lessons aren't about wealth or fame or working harder and harder. The clearest message that we get from this 75-year study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period.
They found the quality of our relationship had as biggest impact on our long-term health as diet and exercise, and in some cases surpassed it. People who are more socially connected were physically healthier and lived longer than the control group. People who are more isolated, however, reporting being less happy, their health declined earlier, their brain functioning declined sooner, and they lived shorter lives than people who are not lonely. No, seriously, when men were in their 50s during the study, researchers looked at what single factor could predict whether the men would reach their 80s and in what state. Do you know what they found? It was how they responded to how satisfied they were with their relationships. The people who were most satisfied in their relationships at age 50 were the healthiest at age 80. Oh, and get this, for those that did reach their 80s, Their relationships acted as a buffer to the challenges that come with getting old. When they felt physical pain, they still reported a sense of contentment when they had loving relationships in their lives. The opposite was true when they didn't. There's a book that goes into all this and I'd highly recommend it. So now you've heard all of this, you might be asking, if this is true, why isn't it a part of the happiness industry? The answer is, well, because it's not something you can buy and sell to others. It's not an app you can download or a seminar you can attend. It's a messy, difficult, complicated thing that we all have, but struggle to navigate. Donald Winnicott, an influential therapist, said, "There is no such thing as a baby. We are all born into relationships and we remain in them all of our lives." I think it's a super useful idea to think about. Seeing yourself as not one atomized, isolated person, and instead as a part of relationships both with yourself and others, is a really powerful way of shifting our perspective on how to be happy. Happiness is not an individual pursuit. It's the collective community state of being that only comes when we let people into our lives. Our brains are designed for connection. We just need to be better at accepting it. If you like this video, please give it a like and a share. I've got a ton of great video content coming up in the coming weeks, so please like and subscribe to this so you don't miss it. Thank you.